Okay,
Let's
cool.
call this the start point.
All right, so you start then
This is
just
the start point.
so it's all right. So what the fuck are we
Who's your
doing?
guest today?
My guest today is the one and only. Who is it, Jeremiah?
Robert Saget.
Robert Saget.
Right.
This is great, dude. Because when we saw that this was coming up, and my head writer found out it was you, he said this is a perfect combination of guest and album.
And what's his name?
His name is. Can I say it?
You could, of course. I mean,
Oh, okay. Well, got that.
now see, I'm leading you in this way. I just don't do the tabloid side of
No,
it.
no, 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 no. And my writer is the one and only Morty Coyle.
And I've known Morty forever. And I knew him back in the day when I would go to the clubs when I was single for 23 years. After I got divorced 24 years ago, and I'm married now. You're vaping. That's very good.
I am vaping. It's
important.
dude,
When you're on video, you got to vape.
It's 2020, bro. That's you think I'm
Oh
still.
God,
I'm,
please
I'm
make it in.
I'm digital,
Make it
bro.
in.
I'm digital. No more of that analog bullshit. But
God.
being
Morty thought that I was a good fit for this album.
he did
How many albums have you done in the history of your podcast?
110. You're 110th. You're on, and that's why we got you, because we wanted it to be big. We wanted to celebrate it. We wanted
Right, 110. That's a real.
Yeah.
That's the I don't know, the Chrome anniversary.
So go ahead. Tell me your relationship with this album and Jackson Browne.
Well, the album came out in '76, and I was living in Philadelphia, going to Temple University.
Temple Owls, John
Temple
Chaney,
Owls.
Mark
Go
Macon.
Owls. Oh, you're saying it all. Are you
Oh,
from Philly?
no, my dad went to Temple, and I used to be obsessed back in '88 when Mark Macon was a star and they lost to Duke in the quarterfinals or the semifinals before the NCAA. I'm a Quincy Wadley, Eddie Jones, Aaron McKee. I could go through everybody, dude.
Brother.
I have a Quincy Wadley jersey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I have it?
All right, fuck it. I don't hardly ever wear it. It'll
I'll
fit
bleach
you.
it.
All right. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was working in a deli, and I had a girlfriend who later became my wife, and then became my ex-wife, and is now my friend. There you go.
Nice.
And there's only one other person that I can think of that has a relationship with someone and is able to sometimes keep it stable, and that's Jackson Browne. Which how did I do that? But I was working in a deli and driving to Temple University, and I'd never missed a Jackson Browne album, from the first one, Jackson Browne, to For Every Man, which I thought was one of the best things I'd ever heard in my whole life.
It's phenomenal.
The song For Every Man, and we're not talking about that. We're going to be talking about The Pretender, because you asked me to choose between two different artists, and Don Henley, End of the Innocence, right?
Yes.
And Jackson Browne, The Pretender. And I love both albums. I mean, I was doing the same thing, but with End of the Innocence, for some reason, I started listening to that later. But with Jackson, he just hit me. And I had never seen him at the Main Point in Philly, which is where he used to perform, where Bruce used to perform. Martin Mull I saw there with his furniture, and he would sing comedy songs, so he was an influence on me.
Yeah.
But Jackson just moved to the bigger rooms, the bigger outdoor places. I think it was the Robin Hood Dell or something in the outskirts of Philly. And I would see him whenever I could. So when Every Man came out, and that's a ballad everybody owes it to themselves to listen to, especially now.
100%.
Anyone who's a poet, who's an artist from any age, that was, listen to Dylan, the times they were changing has never gone away, unless all things are destroyed, which is not possible at all, because things are going great during the end of days.
So
right now.
great.
Yeah, the locusts are coming. I'm excited. So I would, and then Late for the Sky just kind of broke my heart, and but then the album right after that, correct? I got the order right?
Yes, this is right after that.
It's right after Late for the Sky. So in 1976, The Pretender came out, and two songs were on the radio. One were "Here Come Those Cheers Again" and "The Pretender," and they were popular songs on the radio. The album, this is all people care about, which is unfortunate, but it was nominated for a Grammy. And then all the millennials, or not millennials, sorry, what's newer than Gen X? Gen Z.
Gen Z, yeah.
Gen Z would go, well, it didn't win the Grammy, So yeah, it's an amazing album, and it's a work of art. And it's only 35 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's only 8 songs, and each one is so amazing because he did a lot of personal stuff. That's why all the artists I love, and I think you guys love.
Yeah.
I mean, like Bruce, you listen to Bruce and you go, holy shit, how much. And I caught up to Bruce late.
Me too.
I saw him on the River Tour, and I didn't see the Born to Run tour, and I didn't even know his first 2 albums because I was a moron. And then once I caught on and Born to Run, then I went and did everything of past, and I went, oh my God, this is a genius. And he actually, Jackson Browne there is a osmosis of some kind, and I know he's been on stage with Bruce, and Bruce and Patty actually sang The Pretender on
really?
Yeah, that's what I looked up on a collection, a tribute to Jackson Browne, which must have been the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I would think.
I think
I'm
Bruce,
sure.
I'm almost positive that I read that Bruce Springsteen inducted Jackson into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And I think the song they sang was not that. It was Linda Paloma. That, if I'm correct. And Linda Paloma is the song that Bruce and Patty sang as a duet and covered it
Such a good
as a
song.
tribute to him. And that's on The Pretender as well.
Yeah.
So there is so much emotion in Jackson's stuff. And this, I got to be very careful here because everyone goes through tragedy, and he's had his share.
Yeah.
And this album, The Pretender, came after his wife's death.
Yes. So
And
he started.
He had a son to raise.
So yeah. So for everybody listening, if you don't know, the backstory of this is which is so crazy that this is the second album that we're doing by Jackson, because in For Every Man he has that song Ready or Not, where he talks about meeting Phyllis and getting her pregnant. And then he started, and they got married, I think that was 1973 when For Every Man came out. And then he starts writing this record, and he assembles all these great musicians like Don Henley and David Crosby and Graham Nash and Bonnie Raitt and Waddy and just so many different people. And Jackson has always been somebody, like you said, that could write and sing about life's fleeting nature and yearning for love amidst the chaos. But when he started working on this record, which at first was going to be specifically addressing waking up out of the 60s idealistic dream, and facing the often harsh reality of life.
I thought this was right off the top of your head. Now
I know, dude. I keep fucking up. I was nailing it.
Loves every record ever.
Damn it, Josh! Why do you stutter? Why do you get nervous speaking in public?
Farley.
Yeah.
Why did I say that?
God,
I'm so stupid.
What an idiot! But dude, because here's the thing, man, is that and this is all Morty. Morty and me spent about 2 hours prior to this talking about it, because we were talking about me doing the podcast. Is that I don't know everything about these records. Morty has been there guiding me through this, making sure I focus on certain things. But with this record and with Jackson, it's like he's one of those artists you don't want to fuck up. Like we did the Beatles earlier this week. You don't want to fuck up the Beatles. So I want to make sure.
Who was your guest? Who screwed up the Beatles?
Fucking Joel McHale.
Oh, that is the wrong choice.
I know,
he's a boyfriend of mine, but I mean, you got to get somebody that's right there.
I know.
I mean,
we tried Ringo.
Gets it.
We tried Paul.
Ringo would be the guy.
We tried him.
Paul ain't gonna do it. Ringo's not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So you want to get a Brit. You want somebody. That really.
That's funny that you're saying that, because we did George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, and my producer up in the corner, Jeremiah, got us Peter Asher, the head. He basically lived with, or Paul McCartney lived with him, all this shit. And no episode that we have done I have been shit on more than the Peter Asher episode.
Why did he shit on you?
Because
he's just into that.
Because
it's hard to do on a Zoom.
I know this was in person, and he was wearing a velvet suit, a Merlot velvet suit. I just would crack jokes, Bob, and he just was not fucking.
Well, because you're dealing
mood.
with the reverence, you're dealing
dude.
with the beginnings of music. I could have told you that.
Well, I wish I would have fucking known you.
Make fun of. I hope you didn't make fun of George Martin.
Did I? I don't remember. I don't think I made fun of George Martin.
How much vaping did you do before that?
Before? You mean? I mean the entire time, dude.
You got to take your shoes off and talk about the Beatles. That's hallowed ground. But all things pass. That's another thing. I mean, George hit a lot of all the Beatles music, but All Things Must Pass has that. I'm not comparing. I'm just saying Jackson Browne has a melancholy. There's a pathos in everything that he does. I mean, all things must pass away. And then when you listen to every man, These Days is on there.
Oh, I love that so much.
These days I sit and God, I don't want to get the lyrics wrong because I'm loaded for the Pretender. But think about all the things I forgot to do for you and all the times I was supposed to. And I've had a lover. It's so hard to risk another these days. I mean, his lyrics are what hit me. And he would, in concert, he would go, "Here's another sad song." He would always go, "Here's another, romantically lost song. Here's another one about a breakup." But this album, when he breaks into the Pretender, and no matter what age you are, when you start to hear the greatest music, this, the moment the beginning starts and that opening riff starts. What do you call that? The very opening of a song?
The overture? I don't know.
No.
Just
it's whatever the handle is that gets you into the song. But there's, certain beginnings of song. It's like the opening of Honky Tonk Woman. I mean, you know where you're going.
Yes. Yeah.
So, with the song "The Pretender," which is the climax and one of the longer songs on the album. It's a lot of short songs on this album. Again, it's only 35 minutes long, which means people should listen to it because that's all the attention span. Although in quarantine, they have more of an attention span.
Yeah, you need like a quadruple sided record in quarantine.
This is right. Everything's two albums, but this one. It says, I was looking it up and it said side 1 and it lists 4 songs, side 2 and it lists 4 songs. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's no more sides, but I do have the LP of this album.
Oh, nice.
And I got a turntable just to my left and it's got my name on it because my album's on it.
Nice.
But this album hit me really, really hard. I didn't even know the personal story behind it when I saw him play it live and when I started listening to it on a loop. It's one of those things when you hear a song and you just don't stop playing that song. So, and that happened to me in 76. I was gone to film school, Temple University. This album comes out. I'm kind of lost. I think I'm going to move to LA. I end up moving there in 78. And that's when I'm driving on La Cienega heading north towards Santa Monica Boulevard, and I'm going to make a left, so I'm going to pass the Troubadour, and that's when "Every Breath You Take" by The Police comes on for the first time. First time I ever heard it.
Oh, wow.
So it's the first time I ever heard it. And then I went like, how does anybody write a new song? Music's all been done.
Yeah.
How is it possible? Because a lot of the music we hear now are samples. And then some hip hop is like, what the hell was that? That's great.
Yeah.
Or some brand new something. And you go, no, that's Justin Bieber. Oh my God, it's good. And then it is. And then, but things happen.
Yeah.
And talented people, do things because they're special in that. And I don't want to leave it at Justin Bieber, by the way. But I like Taylor Swift's last album because it's still coming from where she's at.
Yeah, people love her. I've know one song by her, and it's only because my nieces just played it for me. But I love it.
You should hang out with them once you're wearing a mask and totally have the vaccine. But
I've had COVID and just got tested again and still have the antibodies. Booyah!
That's really good.
Thank you.
What about Uncle Bodies? All anybody talks about is antibodies. I mean, he's left out. She got everything antibody.
Great uncle,
I
great uncle bodies.
I used to date a girl. She was antibody.
Yeah.
She just didn't want me to go near hers. So Jackson's always talking about unrequited love,
Yeah.
and this is when you lose someone, when you lose your wife, and you have a kid that is completely unrequited.
Couldn't imagine.
You know. So, and I've had a lot of loss in my family.
Yeah.
I had when this album came out. I think both one of my sisters was really not well. I'm trying to remember when she passed away, but she had a hard one. And our family always had a lot of difficulty in death. So if that stuff is part of your life, you're attracted to people that ease that pain.
For sure.
And
For
if
sure.
it's done melodically and lyrically the way Jackson has, it's just the Pretender is to me a miracle. I mean, I could talk about it if you want.
Well, no, we're gonna bring that
I got
up.
a book. I don't really want to talk about it now. I've kind of lost my mojo. But no, I'm just kidding.
Well, are we gonna? We're gonna get. I have some stuff I want to bring up during some of the songs.
Yeah, dude, I want us to be an interchange.
No, no.
I'm very much a what you. Let me mute you. No, I was going to say I'm a collaborator.
Yeah,
I love.
I can tell you're great at it. No,
and
but
you know stuff that I know about this because you did the same Googling.
Yeah, but what's dude? I'm good at Google. I'm not gonna lie. What I found, and you're right, because for every man, it definitely struck a chord with me on so many levels. And this record, because I've dealt with loss, and even though this record wasn't about the loss of his wife, it definitely casted a shadow over the rest of the recording and when he really started diving into it. And people just kind of assumed, because you have to bring something like that up when you release an album like this and something tragic happens literally right before it. So, and it all starts.
Some artists don't. Some don't.
Some don't.
But they're not meant to. You know, this is a man, a really kind and a really amazing man who I've had the pleasure of knowing.
Yeah.
More recently in the past decade, and so kind, and he it's like therapy, you know, and you're helping others, but it's an artist it just comes out of an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
I've much like you. I mean, you're probably much closer. I've been able, through my friend Tall Wilkenfeld, who I've talked about on this. I've been able to hang out with Jackson a few times, and a lot of the people that worked on this record. And I couldn't agree with you more. One of the sweetest human beings,
Gentle.
And
yet he's a you know, as some people want to say, he's a guy's guy too. He's a man's man,
for sure.
But he's also a ladies' man, not a ladies' man in the lascivious way. But you know, this guy was a ballad singer who became a rock singer.
Yeah.
Who then, you know, people would know, oh, that's from Fast Times. You
Yeah.
know, somebody's baby, and when people hear that, that's like their song. You know, and he's written so many. I mean, he wrote "Take It Easy," and that's how he was close with the Eagles.
Sure,
so they were all tied together. But this album, I don't think "For Every Man" was produced by John Landau, but "The Pretender" was. I'm not sure.
JT,
but
can you check that?
Yeah, because John Landau, of course, one of the greatest producers of all of music, Bruce Springsteen's producer, and if you watch the most recent documentary with Bruce, John Landau is there, and there's a particular song that Bruce sings that John can't emotionally get himself together because it affects him, because it's so many years
of
a partnership and of working with undeniably one of the greatest music artists of all time.
For sure. What's so cool about doing this podcast is that I've seen John Landau's name pop up so many times so far.
He's a genius.
Genius.
But I have that. I'm holding that in my hand, what you're showing now. I'm wondering if For Every Man was produced by John Landau. That's what I'm wondering about. Because I'll show you. Take a look at your screen. I could show you this. There it would be. So that would be the same exact document. I believe that's what I have.
It was. It's produced by John Landau too.
No, well, there you go. And Late for the Sky. I don't know if John Landau. No, that's just about. This is going well. That's just about The Pretender. So I'm wondering about For Every Man. I'm wondering about Jackson Browne album. Here, I'll do it on my phone. I'll show you how it's done. Watch this. Now you're
Now
killing
he's
yourself.
just scrolling, dude.
No, you're killing yourself. I'll do this much better for you. Let's see. Jackson Browne albums produced by. Oh, good. It's going through my podcast.
Here, I
board.
got it. I got it.
Really
Booyah. I know, I got it. What's so great about this? We can
We'll
edit.
see.
It's
I'm
produced
still
for
going.
Every Man is produced by Jackson Browne himself.
Right.
There it is. Only took 8 minutes for us to figure that shit out. It's only a 10-minute podcast.
I still had a question for it, so here we go. Well, John Landau, this will be good. He did Born in the USA, Born to Run, Darkness, On the Edge of Town, Human Touch, The Pretender. Let's see, The Very Best of Jackson Browne. I mean, he's just, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing person. I'd love to meet him, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, it just so happens we got John right here. Come on out.
I have Marshall McLuhan right here.
Yeah.
You know nothing of my theories. Just lost all the audience. But I go ahead, because I want to talk about.
Well,
this album.
let's dive into the record, okay? So it opens with
Okay.
The Fuse, and
Right.
Jackson was always searching for meaning in the face of time, and on this he starts with the world and then looks within. I think the lyrics are a bit confusing, as The Fuse could be about burning towards apocalypse or counting down to enlightenment.
I think it's both.
Okay.
I mean, there's a ticking clock when he goes, whatever it is you might think you have nothing to lose. Through every dead and living thing, time runs like a fuse, and the fuse is burning, and the earth is turning. So that sounds like there's a clock ticking, but he also tries to alleviate your fears. And he goes, through the years, give way to uncertainty, and the fear of living for nothing strangles the will. There's a part of, I'm not going to sing it. Can't do it. There's a part of me that speaks to the heart of.
You want it though? I feel there's a
and
part of me.
right. But the best thing that he says
Yeah.
applies this moment, which is, "Oh Lord, are there people really starving still?
Ooh.
Look out beyond the walls of Babylon. How long will their needs go unfulfilled?" I want to say right now, I'm going to be around. It turns rock and roll. I mean, it's a rock and roll song. It comes out of the gate. The album starts with a heartfelt Jackson Browne song, but it's rock and roll.
But there's also I want to play this one little part because I'm not. Let me stress this before I play this part. I love this song, but it has this weird time signature change that just kind of threw me off a little bit. Peter, play 159.
You wouldn't say that if you wrote it.
100%.
Dead and living thing, time runs like a fuse, and the fuse is burning, and the earth is turning.
All right, kill it. So it went
Yeah,
from
that's the lyric I read.
exactly. So it went
No,
from.
I know what sound bites you're going to use.
Oh, you do? Would you see?
But
Do you
have
see
to.
my
Look at
screen?
those- No, but you know the poignant parts of his song.
For sure.
I mean, you do music, you know.
Yeah, but so it goes from this heart-wrenching singer-songwriter song to almost, in my opinion, like Disco Inferno. But, like, Bob, what I want to say is this is not a bad song because then you have these incredibly phenomenal parts like this one. Play 325.
That nothing can do. Oh Lord,
This is the other quote I gave.
are there really people?
Are you in my head right now, Mr. Saget?
I did my work.
Kill it.
No, I told you. Are there really people standing still, starving still? And that's. Let me just tell you the end of the song.
Yeah.
Because him saying, "Are there really people starving still?" It ain't getting quieter in that area.
Yeah.
In our world. The very end of this song is, I want to say right now, I'm going to be around when the walls and towers are crumbling, when the towers are tumbling down, and I will tune my spirit to the gentle sound. I want to hear the sound of the waters lapping on a higher ground of the children laughing. So that's the last lyric, the children laughing. So that's a positive.
It does.
And
Yeah.
it's a very complex song. Yes, it does have that little bit of a disco rumble in it, but it was so of the time
Yeah.
that he was right on the cusp, right, doing exactly combining two kinds of music, which he hadn't done before.
Yeah.
So I'm sure John Landau had a piece of that, but that's all Jack.
Oh, for sure. I wanted to ask you a question, because speaking of the fuse, so like who, or maybe it was a thing, what lit the fuse that started you off to where you are today?
I think being alone a lot and not having a lot of friends. So when I was about 16, I was living in an apartment in Philadelphia because I moved in the middle of ninth grade from Norfolk, Virginia to Encino, California. And then between 11th and 12th grade, I moved back to Philadelphia where I was born. So I was a loner. So that's another reason why this album would speak so much to me, because
Yeah.
it's about, you look at the album cover, it's him just walking amongst people.
Yeah.
And he's alone.
Yeah.
He's with people, but he's alone. And that's what I was doing. So I started writing really bad songs at 16 years old, serious ones. And then I started writing comedy songs. And then at 17 years old, I won a radio contest, WMMR in Philadelphia, for a song about bondage. And a 17-year-old singing a song about bondage, that's kind of weird. And then I kept doing stand-up, and it kind of, I'm trying to think what inspired me. I was going to be a doctor. I went to pre-med classes for one semester
Yeah.
at Temple, and then I would sneak in the Latin Casino and see Don Rickles. I saw a lot of music acts. I would see Martin Mull. I would, people that I just looked up to that I ended up knowing is kind of the crazy part. To
Yeah.
be friends with Rickles and, loving Rodney, and then watching Richard Pryor's early stuff, and ended up knowing him and being in a movie with him. But I didn't know, it found me. It all found me. Doors either opened, and when they don't open, I stopped pushing, because you can't push.
Yeah.
But this is one of those albums that, to go back to it, it's very organic. All of his music's organic. Jackson is an organic guy, and I found all of his music, and especially on The Pretender, it kind of everything came into sync as being someone who was right where he was. So it's meditative in a way.
Very. Yes, his music is very, very meditative. I have to.
Takes you to the next song.
Which it has to. But before we go, because you keep mentioning Philly, do you do like the Philadelphia accent? Like Hall Oates?
I can't really. That's British.
No, it's not. What are you talking about?
No
Hall
wonder you-
Oates. First of all,
wonder
go
you
fuck
pissed off
yourself.
Peter
Second of
Asher.
all, we're going to Wawa. We're going to go get a hoagie. I'm listening to
it's
Hall
it's
Oates.
a hoagie. I can't do the accent because when I lived there, I had it.
Did you?
And then when I listened to recordings of myself, I was kind of, and then I moved so much, I kind of got a compilation of accents, which is whatever this is. But I do, I love Philly.
I love it
I'm
too.
loving it more now and missing it more now. And I think it's because I can't go there. I was supposed to perform there right now.
Yeah.
It's just a hard time. And that's a place where everybody went. Bruce was all through Philly and playing, I played the Tower, I played where Bruce played, where Jackson played. That was the place, I think Hendrix played there.
Yeah.
And it's not the best room for comedy. It's, everybody's stoned and they're yelling for hoagies.
Come on, play it. Wait, this is a comic? Okay, I'm ready to laugh. Okay. All right, next song, Your Bright Baby Blues. So this is a pretty standard country rock song about seeking salvation from a woman, featuring friend and drug buddy Lowell George of Little Feat on slide guitar. There's also a mention of
drug buddy. I don't know how you
well,
say that. I mean, the guy obviously smokes pot.
for sure, but they mention it in this part in the song. So
They
here,
do.
so
They
here,
do.
Peter, play 410.
I'm glad you're doing that, because otherwise I would have said it.
Close your eyes.
Dude, I feel like we're so sunk up right now. You've got my
Try a
notes.
few
A
of
few of these.
Yeah, dude.
these. Try a few of these. So that's pills, I would imagine.
Could be.
I think so.
Because
I thought I was flying like a bird.
Yeah, 'cause he's tripping.
Damn.
So far above my sorrow, but when I looked down, I was standing on my knees.
all right, that's enough. Jesus Christ.
Now, who the fuck can write that?
That's so beautiful.
But he took whatever. He's flying like a bird, so far up above my sorrow. But when I looked down, I was standing on my knees. That means you can't get up. You aren't accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Now I need someone to help me. Someone to help me, please." Now, I mean, the first rule is acceptance.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And then, I mean, all the lyrics, the music is amazing to this song. This song made me cry because it had this desperation. He then goes, "Baby, if you need me like I know I need you, there's just one thing I'll ask you to do." Hold on, pages. "Take my hand," is the last lyric of the whole song. "Take my hand and lead me to the hole in the garden wall and pull me through. Pull me through." So he's asking for help.
Yeah.
And he wants it through love. But it's just, people really need to hear this album.
I agree.
We're all kind of lost right now, all of us. And I'm attracted to music that centers me to where we're at. And it can be brand new. I don't care. It can be, I just watched 8 Mile the other night. It doesn't have enough of his music in it, but it's Eminem centers me.
Yeah.
I'm retroing quite a bit. I like to hear new stuff, but during this time, I think a lot of people go for comfort, food, comfort, music.
Oh, for sure. It's like I mean, the whole time I've been out here in Maryland with my family while LA shut down, we're watching the best '80s movies, the movies that we grew up with, like Pee-wee's
Right.
Big Adventure, because it just feels safe and it's secure. And so something like this, it's almost like this album was meant to be discussed now at this stage of the quarantine for all the listeners and for us to have to really dig into it.
When you mentioned it to me, I was right in sync with it.
Good.
Because it's where, but a lot of albums are like that, Bruce's Darkness on the Edge of Town
Yeah.
is right now. I mean, a lot of Bob Dylan is right now, there's a lot of music that throughout the past 50 years, 70 years, whatever. I mean, you want to hear a good piece of Muddy Waters blues, you're right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's not party time, and yet we want it to be. And that's why so many people have, broken boundaries and done what they're not supposed to do socially because they can't take it. They don't want to sit home reflective. They want to go out and live their life. And I get it, but we're almost there. We're at the finish line.
We're at the finish line.
And we're still, it's worse than ever right now, but people don't want to believe that. That doesn't matter. What matters is what the truth is and what will happen. And this kind of music, this album, all of his work, but this album, it just takes you to a place. I mean, I listened to it right before we did this. I listened to it again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, boy, it's every song is hitting me. Every single song. It's only 8 songs.
I know.
And some of them are 2 to 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
Bright Baby Blues is 6 minutes and 5 seconds long. And just to back up, the first one, The Fuse, because I happen to have all of my intel, that one is 5 minutes and 50 seconds long. So those are kind of longish by radio standards.
Bob, I think they could have cut the Fuses like outro because there's like a minute and a half of an outro.
He does. You keep wanting to cut perfect albums, so you can do it all you want. Do it with Supertramp. I don't give a shit about them. Take a look at my girlfriend.
Is that Supertramp?
There you go. So don't cut them. Boston, cut Boston. More than a feeling.
More than a feeling. Yeah,
So
I'm
what
not trying to
happens
cut.
with a lot of these songs also is they fade out.
Yeah.
And that's producing. That's you decide to fade them out. And
Or maybe Jackson just started playing quieter and quieter until he was done.
Well, I will tell you in concert,
yeah.
this song continues, Bright Baby Blues, and I'm going to say some of the artists that are on this. He's got David Lindley playing a steel guitar.
Yeah.
So you got people on violin. When you have the artist, slide guitar is David Lindley on this album, and he did a lot of Jackson's. He was there for a lot of it. And Russ Kunkel's on the drums, and Russ was like, I saw him tour with Linda Ronstadt and just a lot of people. He's got Roy Bittan on piano from the E Street Band. I mean, that's who's playing piano on this album. And, Waddy Wachtel is on guitar. These are like legends till the end of time. It's a non-discussion. The people that are working on this thing, Don Henley is doing harmony, Bonnie Raitt, Souther, David Crosby, Graham Nash. I mean, all of these
Bill
people.
Payne. You got Toto's Jeff Porcaro.
Yeah. You've got it's nuts.
It's nuts
because it's a real. And so in concert, I am telling you that there wasn't a fade out. It had to end. It had to have a real
sure
coda to it, and it does. It has a flourish. All of this music does in concert. No one fades out in concert except a few people I've heard do it, and it doesn't seem to be too fashionable anymore. I want to go to the next one because I have. No, you go ahead.
Well, I
just know we'll talk for 3 hours.
Well, I wanted to ask. I just wanted to ask you because I wanted to ask you because I am such a fan of yours, and being that this song has, a huge fan, bro. Dude, I got into a discussion yesterday with my comedian friend Justine Marino, who's obsessed with you.
Wow.
Obsessed with you. But it's just I knowing you, and now like for the way it started with Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, and then seeing the real you on stage as a stand-up, I've never been able to know is like, did you ever have a phase with substances?
Of course. I lived at home in my parents' apartment while I worked in a deli and went to Temple University Film School.
Yeah.
And I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing. So when I came to LA at 21 years old, and I won the Student Academy Award for a documentary I made at Temple, and I got accepted at the Comedy Store, it was 2 to 3 years of I made friends with a couple people. They became my best friends, and pot was nothing. That was like I smoked for a couple of years, so I got it out of my system.
For sure.
It's all that was in my system. And then Coke for probably about a year or two, maybe a year solid, and then a year not. And then, of course, mushrooms, because you got to do something while you drive. And never took LSD, never took acid. Ecstasy, of course, because I wanted to deplete my spinal fluid.
For sure.
Never put a needle in my arm, but I did as I got older. Had my sciatica got so bad that I had an epidural, and I was a big fan of propofol. I would fake an sciatica so I could just get the propofol.
You went doctor shopping? No way. Do we have so much in common?
No, I would never take it, and I have sleep issues. Because, look at me. So my early 20s. And I was hanging out with,
comics.
I was at the Comedy Store. I got Sam Kinison his first spot at the Comedy Store. How did he thank me? So that's not true. But drugs it was the early 80s. I mean, it was drugs.
What was your favorite? What was your drug of choice, if you could choose?
Fizzies. You just put like an Alka-Seltzer, and it became cherry soda. I'm talking fizzies, literally fizzies, not.
It's that candy. Yeah, I know. Those are. Oh, I love
Pixie
them.
Sticks.
Yeah, of course.
I liked pot for a while, but it made me very paranoid. And now, of course, people say, Bob, here's a pen. You're gonna like it. It'll mellow you. Now there's all a pot named after me, and people think I'm a pothead, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I've done enough drugs that after having done them in the early 80s, I just taught people think I'm stoned all the time. I do a podcast, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't? My paper kid.
They do a podcast too.
My UPS driver. Everybody has.
My rabbi does a podcast.
Absolutely. A lot do.
It's called Mishpacha Time.
Right. Kadittelhoferville. And this one is called Bob Saget's Here For You. It's been on for a year, and I got I have wonderful people on it. Joel McHale, who ruined your Beatles tribute.
Ruined.
What are you going to do? It's Joel. I mean, I love him. He did a thing for me for my scleroderma research foundation that I am on the board of.
Yeah.
Because I have a sister that I lost. She lived in Philly. I had another one that I lost. She was 34. The one, and she had a brain aneurysm. And the other one, and we're going to get back into Jackson because of this, what I'm telling you about.
Yeah.
And my other sister was 47 and she died of scleroderma, which is hardening of the skin. Nobody knew anything. And now we raised like $45 million that goes right to research. We just did a virtual event in October, and Joel McHale almost ruined that. We raised $1.1 million on a virtual event.
That's great.
And Joe Gallen produced it for me.
He directed my TV show.
Joe Gallen's the best.
Joe Gallen's the best. Yeah, he's great.
I mean, if you saw the virtual, not virtual, but the non audience filled Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just now, that I think it's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I think it's what it's on. It's beatific. It's so great. If people haven't seen it, they have to see this damn thing. Joel, they gave him an honorary Emmy after 9/11. If you recall, everybody recalls that they did 2 nights on all 3 channels, not Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. And they ran that, I guess it was 2 to 4 hours a night. I can't remember, but it was 2 nights in a row. And some of the people performed live, like U2 and the Stones, and some people were on tape. Joel made that because he had to.
Yeah.
And it was right after 9/11. And it was all candles everywhere, a lot of black and white footage. And they gave him an honorary Emmy. There was no category. They gave him one because it made me cry, And then the miracle of, that's what Jackson's music has always done for me. It makes me cry of why I'm here. What's my place in the world? Will I find love? I mean, I'm happily married now, but it took me a long time.
Yeah.
I had a lot of ups and downs. For 23 years, I was divorced. And no, maybe 22 or 21 by the time I met Kelly. So that's been 4 years we've been together. But that's a long time to be looking for love in all the wrong places. That's the album we should be doing. But can I keep going? Because we'll never get done.
No,
I mean, you know what's going to happen.
But I love this.
It's a 35-minute album.
And the podcast is going to be 2.5 hours.
I'll talk till the coronavirus is gone.
All right.
So
we're moving on. We're moving on. We're moving on to. By the way, Bob, I love this so much. So you go off on any tangent you want. Trust me. And the fans are gonna. The Fleece Army loves this. The next song is Linda Paloma. Honestly, probably my favorite song on the record, which is funny because it doesn't really fit with the full scope of this album.
But it does if you know California rock.
For sure.
Know the roots of it, and it's hugely Mexican influence also.
Very.
As well as that easy peasy Laurel Canyon type of music.
You see that. It's funny that you're mentioning that. Is that even the way the logo for The Pretender is written on the album cover, it's almost like that Chicano style of graffiti that you would find in Los Angeles.
Well, it's all of California is Mexican art. I mean, all of the missions, the California missions are Mexican missions. They're gorgeous. They're made of terracotta and clay, and they were brought by people that wanted to, missionaries that built these beautiful churches. That's our landmark churches in California.
Yeah.
And Jackson is a California guy, and there's just something, and his voice has that. It's one of those voices, if you know it, which most people should. It's one of those voices if you listen to Nat King Cole, you go, oh my God. That's velvet,
Yeah.
If you listen to James Taylor, it's like, oh, there's a friend. Not just because he sang Carole King's song, You Got a Friend, but there's a friend. If you listen to Bruce, you know who you're listening to. If you listen to Tom Waits, you know.
Oh, you definitely know. You're like, all right, I'm Tom Waits.
But it's all what alcohol and cigarettes will do to you by the end. And God, I just saw him in a movie. He's unbelievable. He's another one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah,
people haven't seen Tom Waits. When we're back out and able to see if he tours, I saw him on stage, and he was alone, and he played the saw for 20 minutes.
Ooh.
And he sang with it, and he would play it like the most gorgeous violin you ever heard. It's like Jack Kerouac was the greatest musician. That's Tom Waits.
Yeah, 100%.
So Jackson is a part of all that, So Linda Paloma, and I have a personal experience. So
Please.
If you have a track to play, would you play it?
Yeah, let's play it because this might be my favorite moment on the entire record. Peter, play 304.
But the morning brings strength to your restless wings, and some other lover sings to the sun's bright corona. I know all about these things.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Keep going, don't stop.
You keep going.
Stop it.
Don't keep playing
stop
it.
The end's the best
Oh,
part.
he doesn't have any more? Hold on. Let me get to the ending.
It's literally the best part.
Here, I'll play it right here.
Because I wait the whole song for the ending.
For the ending?
Because it's so gorgeous.
I know all about these things.
Just keep going. It's almost over. This is it.
Fly away, Linda Paloma.
That to me, that makes me cry.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And it's mariachi people that are amazing musicians. And it's just about, it's about being in love with somebody, I think.
Well, it translates to Beautiful Dove, and it was inspired by the mariachi musicians and singer he and Phyllis would repeatedly see at their favorite Mexican restaurant. This is actually kind of funny. Years later, Jackson found out that the mariachi singer used to blow kisses and flirt with Phyllis when he wasn't looking.
Whoa. Well,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
not like, I thought when you said blow, I got scared. So I didn't know.
She used to blow him in the bathroom at El
what-
Compadre.
May I ask what city that was in where those singers were?
Well, they recorded this in Los Angeles. Let me check.
But I'm wondering if where he was at was in Santa Barbara, because I actually have an experience with him.
Well, here,
and
go ahead
it's-
and tell me your experience while we look it up.
Well, it doesn't really matter because all that matters is the connection that he had with the mariachi singers. I was not on television yet much. I had done a Richard Pryor movie and called Critical Condition, and one of the stars of it was Ruben Blades or Ruben Blades, and I called him Ruben, but then he ran for the president of Panama. And he's just an amazing artist and actor, and I miss him. And I would love to connect with him. He's just a very special man. So he had a birthday party, and then I think it was connected to that. I don't even remember, but I'm suddenly in Santa Barbara at a Mexican restaurant that's gorgeous on State Street with a big patio, or off State Street. And I'm sitting next to Jackson Browne, and I'd never met him before. And I was trying to make him laugh, and I told him I loved his work, and people get over that pretty quickly.
For sure.
It's not something you want to say to people a lot. I said it to Tom Petty once, and it was like my favorite moment. I met him at Gary Shandling's house because Gary was very close with Tom, and I went up to him and I said, Tom, I just, and he looked over his glasses and he went, I know, man. I know. I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
I was like, it's the best way to get out for him.
Yeah,
And it's
for
also
sure.
satisfies the hell out of me. So, so I'm next to Jackson, and you won't believe this. What sounds like these guys behind him playing their guitars and playing so perfectly. We were having margaritas. They're playing this music all around him, mariachis, and he keeps giving them money to thank them, and he's in heaven. And all I could think about was this song. It's all I could think of because I was living it.
Yeah.
I was living it with him. I'm wondering if that's the restaurant because I know he was up there a lot. He lived there a lot. So I think he still has a place near it. But it was, I'm sure he doesn't remember it at all. And I've really met with him since and talked with him, and I'll explain I'll tell you now, but
Good.
that particular moment was one of the more poignant moments of someone that I loved so much and what they'd given me through their music, living kind of the roots of what that song was,
Yeah.
which is as basic as it gets, you know.
Yeah. That that's so great.
And so back to the scleroderma benefit that I always do. I've been doing it for 30 years because of this wonderful woman, Sharon Monsky, who was the founder, and she loved Jackson Browne. And we always wanted to get Jackson to do our benefit. So for 30 years, I kept trying. And his management were these two amazing people. They still are, Cree and Buddha, and they're lovely. And I kept asking, is it possible? And he was going to come to New York and do the benefit, but he got really sick. He couldn't do it. And I went, it's okay. And I invited Adam Duritz that night from Counting Crows, and he ended up on stage.
Yeah.
We just happened to have an electric piano. But Jackson wanted to do it. And then finally, he did it for us in New York. And I think we raised almost $1 million that night. And he sang a few songs, and he sang for a dancer. I don't know if he did The Pretender. I don't remember, but I know that it was heartbreaking and meaningful. And it was Sharon Monsky, her favorite performer. And he went to her house once, and I'm sure he remembers it. I've never spoken to him about it. And she was very sick, scleroderma, like my sister had. It can mess you up physically.
Yeah.
And they sat there and drank. She liked to drink. You know, do what the hell you can, you know, when you're in pain. And she just said, I just love him. You know, I wish I was healthy. And that's the kind of kind person he is. So he flew to New York. He did the benefit. And then we went out afterward for an after party. We've never done an after party, and we haven't done one since, because then COVID hit. So it's just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And we had long talks about the disease and about disease in general and about life. And here I am, a grown man, kind of, and and I'm talking to someone that really has always touched my heart. And he's as genuine as the music, you know?
And and I can only imagine, because like you said, it's just, he's such a genuine person that when he talks to you, he's talking with you, not to you. He's not there's no ego. It's just he's
a
just
human being. And but that's true of almost anybody that's great. That's truly great. Unless they're so caught up in unless they're really busy.
Yeah.
Or they've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Or they're a prima donna, but I think the world's getting sick of prima donnas right now.
They're out.
Well, they're not for everybody, but
here I wanted to ask you, because you've brought up the Scleroderma Research Foundation, and with the Cool Comedy Hot Cuisine fundraisers, how can our fans learn about and help out?
Oh, that's really sweet. They just go to srfcure.org. srfcure.org, and that's Scleroderma Research Foundation.org, and it's research in the title. There's another foundation that's a good one, but they don't have research. It's weird that you want to cure disease and there's a couple foundations for things.
Yeah.
There's 2 diabetes, there's 2 heart associations, but we're doing our part for research, and they do nice work also.
Good.
But this is my passion. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'll always do it, because I owe it to the people. I owe it to my sister and to my friend Sharon.
Yeah.
So that brings up the 4th song. Here come
those tears again.
Because see, I get emotional. You bring up my loss of my sister, and this song, I happen to know you were going to tell me, but I'm going to tell you.
Please.
You asked me to do this, and I'm passionate about it. He wrote it with Nancy Farnsworth, the only song on the album written with anyone else.
Yep.
And it was the mother of his wife that he lost.
Yep.
And
He had basically had an unfinished song, and then he showed Jackson. She showed Jackson some month earlier when Jackson and Phyllis were in Paris, and Jackson added some lines to the song he wrote about a lover who leaves to work some things out and grow, but ultimately doesn't return, although it's murky on whether he is the lover or the loser. So Nancy Farnsworth is credited as the co-writer. So it started with her song, and he added to it.
And what's amazing about it, Here Come Those Tears Again, is with loss, there's a million years of it. So it's the immediate loss. You don't stop crying. You can't leave your home. You can't think. You lose someone that you loved. If it's your spouse, like in this case, you can't function.
Yeah.
You can maybe write a song in a month. I don't know what the timetable was. I'm sure it takes a while. And then 2 years later, my experience with it is it hurts even worse. And you're like, wait, I thought I went through the hardest part. And then 5 years later, and then I lost a sister 25 years ago, I'm just dealing with now. So there is no answer. My mother once told me, you never get over it. I wake up every day and think about them.
Yeah.
So what's amazing about this song, you should play whatever clip you have.
Because it's also just to give everybody a little history on it.
I think it's the beginning. I would think you're going to play the beginning.
Well, I've got
because it turned into a rock song. I mean, it's really strange because it's so sad what it's about, and yet it's got this. I don't know if I can open up enough to let you in. How do you let someone else in?
Yeah.
Because here come those tears again over my loss.
Yeah.
And that to me, and he's doing it up tempo, which is what's miraculous because it's against what the song is.
This is probably the most poppy sounding song on the record. It also went to number 23 on the Hot 100 and number 15 on the adult contemporary list, almost exactly a year after Phyllis died, and it spent 9 weeks on the charts. Peter,
it's a brilliant piece.
Brilliant piece. I think we have the middle of it a little bit. Peter, play the taste that we have.
When I can look at you without crying, you might look like a friend of mine, but I don't know if I can open up enough.
I have the beginning too if you want it.
Here come those tears. Here come those tears.
All right, kill it. Do you want to play the beginning?
Yeah. This is only a 3.5 minute song.
Yeah,
that's
it's
what's
quick.
So great. That's a top.
But if you just heard what we just played, I mean, he's just said some heavy shit.
Heavy shit, and that's what you call genius.
Yeah,
that is what I call genius. If you're playing something that is festive and it's about the saddest stuff in the world, or you're playing something that's happy and you make it this odd ballad.
Yeah, it would be like, well, Adolf Hitler wanted to go and kill the Jews, Nazis. So
I think you just
Nazis.
lost a lot of people. That would be a B-52 song, but not the singer, not the band, but the actual bomber.
For sure, dude. But Nazis.
If you got the beginning of, and we can't do this on every song because we don't want to do 3 hours.
No, but I have nothing to do.
We're almost, and I do. But,
all right, play the beginning, Peter. Play the beginning.
Yeah, by the way, this is the end of the first side, so this is the fourth cut.
But what a great way to end it.
Here come those tears again, just when I was getting over you, just when I was gonna make it through another night without missing you, thinking I might just be strong enough after all.
I mean, this is everything about loss.
And then he says, when I hear your footsteps echoing in the hall. So, I mean, it's hard to talk about and not get emotional unless you got no feelings. And we got a lot of people that don't have them right now.
Yeah.
But we'll be good. But he keeps going, here come those tears again. And it's just, wow. And he turns it into a relationship song, which is interesting. There's that one bridge where he says, I can hear you telling me how you needed to be free and how you had some things to work out alone. Now you're standing here telling me how you have grown. So that almost sounds like someone new is in his hallway
Yeah.
that he's talking to. It doesn't sound like someone that passed away is saying that to him. It sounds like somebody new is there, but he can't, you know, here come those tears again. Now you're telling me how to hold them in. So someone is telling him to suppress his feelings for his wife.
Yeah.
So that to me, I guess, I'm not sure.
I mean, but also keep in mind, this was also written by Phyllis's mom too. So this could be, you know, trying to deal with, you know, the death of a child, and maybe it's her husband telling him, or it could be that, you know, I don't want to say ghost, but like energy has to go somewhere. And your sister and my father and my best friend Angelo, like they never leave. Like I get signs all the time.
No, they're here.
They're
I've
here.
got pictures of them everywhere in this room.
Exactly.
I'm in a study of sorts. But he is, and when you hear his voice, and for people that don't know it, go through Jackson Browne's library. People, he's got solo acoustics, two album sets, record. Hell, get an LP.
Get an LP.
And he's, I think he's done 3 of them already. I might be wrong, but there's 2 that are his hits. The intros are as beautiful. It's his, you know, everybody kind of did things in a certain way. Bruce would do a 5-minute intro and an 8-minute song. You know, Jackson would, I loved to hear him talk, and he was funny and heartfelt, and that would lift you up rather than hearing one sad song after another, which isn't what it is. It's heartfelt. It's who he is.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's just, and then you flip the album over.
And we have The Only Child.
Only Child is a boy of mine, as your fortune comes to carry you down the line, and you watch as the changes unfold, and you sort among the stories you've been told. If some pieces of the picture are hard to find, and the answer to your questions are hard to hold, take good care of your mother when you're making up your mind.
Yeah. And
then it just goes on, and it's heart-wrenching because he's raising the kid, and he 2 sons ultimately, but at this time it's
just one. Yeah, it's Ethan. So it's inspired by Jackson and Phyllis's son Ethan, who was 2 at the time, but Jackson also said it's about Phyllis. He explained, saying it's like 2 different people on the same subject. It's written to Ethan, warning him of the life that lies ahead. Here, let's play a little taste. Peter, play the cut.
Let the disappointments pass. Let the laughter fill your glass. Let your illusions last until they shatter. Whatever you might hope to find among the thoughts that crowd your mind, there won't be many that ever really matter.
I mean, I kill it. Let the disappointment.
And then he says, "But take good care of your mother
Yep.
and remember to be kind."
Yeah.
Who writes that? You know. Usually it would be with religious music, but people don't want to hear. Elvis Costello, one of the most brilliant, cynical, funny artists.
Yeah.
And a cynic writes, "What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?" Because there's nothing so funny about it.
Yeah.
It's what we need. But a lot of people don't want to hear all you need is love. Because let's go, how can I love? I don't have my freedom. Or how can I love? Because they don't want to change everything overnight. And everybody's at each other. And it just everybody needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And look at a bigger picture. Because it's a human race. It's not a race to kill each other or to just have your way be the way. We need to collaborate.
Yeah.
And that's...
What's so beautiful about this, Bob, is that, I mean, this is literally like he's talking to his son and giving you life lessons that we all need to hear. Let the disappointments go. Laugh as much as you possibly can. Take good care of your mother. Remember to be kind. I mean, these are... It's and you have no idea. Like if you just heard this on the radio, you just be like, all right, he's saying something. But when you really, he's giving you these really great things to live by in a beautiful song.
Well, and later in his career, he started to do more stuff about the earth. Lives in the balance. It was a lot of warning of what's happened to this country. it was his version of Green Day's American Idiot. You know, it was his version of where are we going. I mean, he's never stopped Time the Conqueror. You know what that's later album. Um, Solo Acoustic Volume 2. I'm wondering if there's a Volume 3. If there isn't, there will be any minute. But, you know, he does end up breaking out of this personal stuff, still goes into it in his later albums. But the organics of it, you know, For Every Man, Jackson Browne before that, and then The Pretender, and then Late for the Sky, you know, Late for the Sky is in 74, which is that's 2 years before this album, and then Running on Empty I think is the one after this. But you know, Late for the Sky has
For a Dancer.
and
Yeah, I
For
just
a Dancer.
yeah.
That's the song that people play at memorials. That's the song that he has played at memorials for people, that he played at my scleroderma benefit, and Fountain of Sorrow. I mean, it's not like people going, oh yeah, I want to get bummed out. No, you want to connect.
Yes.
You want to connect with your feelings and with your family, which takes me to the next song.
Daddy's
Because someone's
Tune.
coming to my house and I don't want to lose you.
No, we can't. We've got 3
I
more
never-
songs
I never-
and then a couple
never wanna
facts.
I never want to let you go. I want to hold you in my arms
Oh
forever.
my God!
Why didn't we do that album?
All right, Daddy's Tune.
Who sang that? Who sang that?
Which
Is that
one was the
Jeffrey
song?
Osborne?
What's
Never
the song?
wanna let you go. Gonna hold you in my arms forever.
Gonna
sang that? You guys can't do an interview without Googling.
I mean,
I thought you were-
I didn't know you were going to
aren't doing
pull this
audio?
song up, dude.
What music do you listen to all the time? Who do you
All the
listen
time. I get made fun of because I'm big into, like, I'm a huge Beatles fan, Radiohead, Beck, Wu-Tang
Yeah,
Clan.
of
but
course.
but there's, like, you know, it's all over the place. I listen to everything. And I really do now. Because of this podcast, I listen to everything. Loretta Lynn, the White Stripes, Don Henley's coming up. I mean, and I love it. Mott the Hoople.
Right.
But I just love good
You're a
music.
little bit old school,
But-
but you have there the Dionne Warwick, but those are covers. Who wrote the thing? I think somebody who sang it first wrote it. Who wrote? We're Googling together, everybody. Don't cut this. Oh, Cynthia Weil.
Let me see this.
Interesting. I don't know. So maybe it was. I remember Be a Gentleman singing it. Huh. All right.
It's not Sergio
Let's get-
Mendes.
No, I don't
I
think
just
so.
want to hold you in my love
My-
forever.
My favorite song by Sergio Mendes is, oh no, I can't remember it. Anyway, so the next song is not about, it's an influence of what his, you know, he was talking to his son in the song prior. Now here he is talking to his dad, right?
Yeah. So this, which is no. So this is like perfectly sequenced. So after the song to his son, we got Jackson's father. Jackson said, "Daddy's Tune is a song I've meant to write for years. Sometimes I'll only have a chorus and know exactly what the song is about. Suffice to say, that's a feeling I had about my father for a long time. It's something I wanted to say to him, and I'm glad I did." And it starts so mournful and regretful about the relationship, and then halfway through, it rocks out with this horn section and hope. Here, Peter, play the transition.
It's amazing.
Leaving so much still left to say. But Daddy, I wanna let you know somehow the things you said are so much clearer now. And I would turn the pages back, but time will not
Right.
allow.
Kill it. The best
And-
line.
and-
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to
he
say,
just
here,
goes-
I'll take that. Let me take this. Because I think the best line in the song is filled with reconciliation and understanding when he says, "Make room for my 45s along beside your 78s. Nothing survives but the way we live our lives." I love that.
Well, and that's not ridiculing what came before you.
Exactly.
And that's a knowledgeable person.
Yeah.
He's a knowledgeable man. He's a philosopher. Your best songwriters are philosophers. I mean, it's just, he's a balladeer. He's a rock and roller. he's, this is a pretty amazing album, and I'm wondering if John Landau had a lot to do with some of those ideas of combining things like that. To have him rock out on something that if it was a ballad, you'd just be crying.
Yeah. Oh, for
You
sure.
can't cry the whole album. So, but then he also says, uh, though among the regrets that I can't get by, there are just one or two unkind things I said to you. Daddy, what was I supposed to do? I don't know why it was so hard to talk to you. I guess my anger pulled me through. Now,
Yeah.
how many people have thought that about their dad, no
Oh,
matter what the
100%.
circumstance? So he's hitting universal themes by sharing his experience. And he's doing it with that, again, that recognizable, so beautiful voice, So you feel like a friend is talking to you.
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask you because, there's so much to be said about how different you are to the part you played as American's dad.
Yeah,
And
and the video show host, but those were jobs.
yeah,
And I also loved doing family stuff. But before I did that, I was, there's a clip on my Instagram from a Rodney Dangerfield Young Comedian special. And I was saying really screwed up shit. I was really,
yeah,
I would say I have the brain of a shepherd and the body of a 16-year-old boy, and they're both in my car, and I want you to see them.
yeah.
That's not a guy you hire as Danny Tanner. But, you look at your greatest comedians, the ones who, Richard Pryor broke boundaries, broke through the wall, knocked the wall down, and still did family movies.
Sure.
I mean, he was the toy. He was like, I'll do that, and not ashamed of anything. He would do. You want to make everybody laugh. Robin Williams did very dirty stand up. If people call it dirty, I don't. It's just Robin.
It's just Robin, yeah.
Beautiful. And then was Mrs. Doubtfire probably one of the when 9/11 happened the day it happened, and everybody was just running that footage. Fox TV, the network, ran Mrs. Doubtfire, and I knew the president at the time, and I thanked him. I just said, "You did a beautiful thing." And I watch, and I talk to people when I do stand up sometimes, and I'll talk to a couple thousand people, and they watched Mrs. Doubtfire that night. People that lived through it got to Fox TV because it wasn't like I'm going to go watch cable.
Yeah.
It was like you're flipping through the news, seeing if there's any new developments, but then you just watched it, and it's about a father trying to get his kids back. And he'll dress up as Mrs. Doubtfire to get them back.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about, and about living with divorce.
Yeah.
So it was let me get to the seventh song.
You got it.
Second to the last title track.
Sleeps Dark and Silent Gate. Jackson has said that this was the only song on here that was directly influenced by Phyllis's death. It's about those moments waiting to fall asleep when you reflect on your past and everything, and it also speaks of a sudden awakening after years of sleepwalking through life. Here, let's play the first verse, Peter.
Sometimes I lie awake at night and wonder where my life will lead me, waiting to pass under sleep's dark and silent gate. I found my love too late, running round day after day, looking for the time to play while my
old friend slipped away.
Yeah.
So, and that's only a 2-minute and 37-second song.
Good God.
And it's literally like a beautiful poem.
Oh, my
something.
God, yes.
And then he just he goes at the very end, he goes, "Oh God, this is some shape I'm in, when the only thing that makes me cry is the kindness in my baby's eye."
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you do with that. And this one didn't have an upbeat
It
thing.
doesn't kick into anything. It hangs there.
It's not completely morose either. It has a nice tempo to it. It's got a sweet melody, and it's got his voice getting you through.
Yeah.
And he must have been. I would think he would be bawling during trying to record that damn thing.
Yeah, I
for a
mean,
lot of these.
for sure.
I'm crying listening to them.
But also, this is him healing. This is him being
Yeah.
he's an honest performer, and it's just like us taking, those harsh things that we've done in our lives and then telling them on stage as comedians, and it's like we're taking this negative thing and making it a positive. So sometimes that's all you have, is to be able to just be as honest as possible. And it's beautiful.
I try to do that, and it scares people. What's really interesting is right after this song, which is the title song of the album, which is the definable song,
Yeah.
the song that was a big hit that became even a bigger hit more recently. 20 years later, it became multi-platinum. I read that the album did. I can't remember.
Yeah.
My knowledge is only what I Google. But the album 1 year later than The Pretender was running on empty. So The Pretender takes you to a place where you're hearing epic Jackson Browne. It's a 6-minute song almost. And once the opening starts, I wouldn't mind if you could just do the opening.
Just do the opening?
Well, I mean,
Peter,
if you have it.
Well, we can listen. We can have it. If Peter, do you have it? Here, you go ahead and play it.
He's got it. That guitar.
I'm gonna rid myself a house in the shade of the freeway. Gonna pack my lunch in the morning and go to work each day. And when the evening rolls around, I'll go on home and lay my body down. And when the morning light comes streaming in, I'll get up and do it again. Amen. Say it again. Amen. I wanna know what became of the changes.
So it's a guy living his life, just walking through life. It's the cover of the album.
Yeah.
And he's doing a routine life, and he's trying to figure out what's bigger than this.
Yeah.
I've been aware of the time going by. They say the end, it's the wink of an eye. And when the morning light comes streaming in, you'll get up and do it again. Amen. And then it's got a good sexual part later, because he has this dream, which is my favorite part. It hit me. There's a couple of great things. This is one of them. I'm going to find myself a girl who can show me what laughter means, and we'll fill in the missing colors in each other's paint by number dreams. And then we'll put our dark glasses on, and we'll make love until our strength is gone. And when the morning light comes streaming in, we'll get up and do it again. Get it up again. And that's when I go, amen, Jackson.
Yeah, dude.
You're preaching to me. And then the best is right after that. He goes, and this is verse 7.
Yeah.
It's a long ass.
It's a longie,
song.
yeah.
And he goes, I'm going to be a happy idiot and struggle for the legal tender, where the ads take aim and lay their claim to the heart and soul of the spender, and believe in whatever may lie in those things that money can buy, though true love could have been a contender. So why are you chasing the buck if you can go out and have a...
Oh, yeah, dude. Well, this is him, this is basically the whole ethos of the album, which is the loss of a dream and predicting, this is what, 78, 76, did we say? This is
76.
So this is the rise of the yuppies of the 80s. This is everything that the hippies fought against, and next thing you know, they're like Abby Hoffman, and who's the other guy from the Chicago 7? They all became that
Jerry, Rubin,
Jerry Rubin. They all became Gordon Gekko.
Sacha Baron Cohen, and
Yeah, I just saw that too. But so
Yeah, it's really good.
in 2015, Jackson said it's grappling with the question of whether the life you're living is the life you thought you were heading for. The Pretender is an open question. Do you find life's best qualities by having children and a job, or in tearing those things down? What do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're at a crossroads right now. I mean,
Yeah.
half the people believe, so a lot of people believe in family. I do believe that, period. No matter what you believe in that. You don't
Yeah.
believe in, a lot of people believe you got to make a living to have a family. But if you make money, the only thing, if you go to Randy Newman's, it's money that I love. If all you care about is that, then it's all you care about. That's the problem we're living through right now. And
Yeah.
people don't know that we've kind of been tricked
Well-
by people that only care about money. And they might have love. I do think they have love for their family, even the ones that we think are the worst people on the planet.
Yeah.
I do think they have love for their family, but they're, the ego's out of control. They're dysfunctional emotionally. But some of them, people with money, are great people. So you can't just go, do you want money or do you want to be a good person? That's bullshit, because you can have all the money in the world and be the best person.
For sure.
We see people, we see examples. But I mean, the whole point is, right after he says, though true love could have been a contender, he goes, are you there? Say a prayer for the pretender who started out so young and strong only to surrender, which means he succumbed to the money, right?
Yeah.
And then he said, say a prayer for the pretender. Are you there for the pretender? Say a prayer for the pretender. Are you there for the pretender? And at the end, he goes, are you prepared for the pretender? So are you pretending your life? And then he's telling you to pray for the person.
Yeah.
Pray for that person that's living a life that's, this is my interpretation, that's
Please.
based on the want of money and things.
Sure. But he and he
doing
leaves
the
us
same old.
for sure. But he leaves us with some hope, and like you said, to heed the warning, not to wait until it's too late to wake up and follow your dreams. And that is why this record is this roller coaster of acceptance and the end of the innocence, and then but you come out and he's kind of like showing you, he's like, no, but this, you can change, you can still have a life, you can still move on, you can still find love, and because this journey, regardless of all the pitfalls, it's still a beautiful journey, and that pain that we have is kind of what makes it beautiful, the fact that
That's
we get
what
to feel
connects
that.
us to life.
Yes.
And that's why this is such a great album, because that's not the first song on the album, and some people would have done that back in the day or right now. But the fact that it's an opus, this is his statement. In fact, this song was used in Mr. Holland's opus, The Pretender.
Was it really?
How I did that. I should be doing a commercial for you right now. But the weird thing for me, the thing that's so amazing, is 1 year later, so much started for him out of this album that went to such a serious place in his heart and in his soul and in his life, and reevaluating and trying to understand that. Then he did Running on Empty. And that thing comes out of the gate with running on empty, running on. And it just goes. It's got the road, and it's got Rosie, which is about jerking off. Rosie, you're all right. You wear my ring. When you hold me tight, Rosie, that's my thing. When you turn out the lights, I got to hand it to me. Looks like it's me and you again tonight, Rosie. I mean, and cocaine is in there, not the Eric Clapton one.
Yeah.
But his cocaine. It's, you take Sally, I'll take Sue. Ain't no difference between the two. Cocaine running around my brain. I mean, that album, the Loadout is on it. Stay. He does Stay, right?
Yeah.
And that's a real traditional, amazing song. Is Stay Sam and Dave? I don't know.
I don't know. I honestly, out of everything you just mentioned about the next album, the only one I know is Running on Empty, which is a phenomenal song. But
well, stay just a little bit longer. I think it's what it is. Let's see. Let's find out right now.
Hit me.
So I have what you have, which is okay. Oh no, I took a survey.
Hold on, wait. I think I can find it. I can find it right here.
No, I got you. Here we go. Oh no,
I got it.
Is that the one? Because I got a different one here. Hold on.
What do you got?
I don't know. It should be coming through my board.
Hold on.
Now my board's all screwed up. These bastards are taking away my fun.
Motherfuckers.
You know, who came up with that expression? I'm not a fan.
What, motherfuckers?
Here it is. Yeah, it just seems wrong.
It's
Okay. I don't know why I can't play. Here we go.
That's what I just played.
Exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
So when you hear him, when he was doing Stay at
Yeah.
the end of the next album, it was an homage to the Roadies. The Union Don't Mind, Stay a little bit longer. It's how he would do a 2-hour and 45-minute show. And then he'd play Stay, and he would have, you know, background singers. And it's an amazing song. And he's thanking the crew. And he's just a gracious, wonderful person. But The Pretender is what loaded him up for, you know, what started as an amazing musician and writer and singer in his first few albums. And Late for the Sky, it's another masterpiece. But then it set him up for so much amazing work.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to his next album. There's not a thing he hasn't. I will hear everything he's ever done and listen to it. He's just one of the more special people.
No, completely. Do you want to do a couple facts and we'll get you out of here?
Absolutely.
Okay. The back cover has a photo of naked baby Ethan Browne playing in the Pacific Ocean next to the translated poem Brown and Agile Child by Chilean poet Pablo Neruda, which he actually wrote to his younger self from his perspective as an older man. I haven't seen it. But
I haven't either.
Can you
I'm
pull
gonna
that
be
up,
looking that up.
Peter? The back cover while we do the next one? All right. The album features many of the stars of the California rock scene that grew out of the Troubadour in Los Angeles. That includes 3/4 of Asylum Records' house band, local session, and concert pros. The Section, which was bassist Leland Sklar, pianist Craig Durgee, and drummer Russ Kunkel. Guitarist Danny Korchmar is the fourth member. Also known as the Mellow Mafia, they played together or individually on hits from Carole King, James Taylor, Warren Zevon, Linda Ronstadt, and Joni Mitchell.
And they toured with them. I would see Russ Kunkel was always the drummer for everybody I would go see from that time.
I actually, when so the connection between me and Jackson is my friend Tull took me to NAMM, which is that music conference in Anaheim, and they were giving an award, like a Lifetime Achievement Award, to Jackson Browne, and all of those guys were there. I literally, hold on, let me see if I can pull the picture up here on my phone because I just sent
there's the back album cover. That's really cool. Of his son.
So I met all of these people. I don't know if you can see this photo.
Oh my God!
But that's all of them. Jackson's not there, but he's in the solo picture. But it's just so cool to like be hanging out with them and have no idea who they were, and then finding out everything about them later. So yeah, so there's the album cover. So I wanted to ask you this.
That's the back.
That's the back album cover. Yeah. So I wanted to give you. I wanted to ask you this. What advice would you give young Bob?
Pull out.
That's great advice, man.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I would say just don't stop. Don't stop, and don't let anybody tell you that you have to stop. And I guess be considerate of others and other people's feelings, especially when success happens. Sometimes you can go into your own little world, and if it doesn't happen in the way you want it to, learn how to love yourself through it. Don't go, I failed, because you didn't. Everybody's got a different journey, you know? And sometimes I'll go, wow, why didn't this happen? Why didn't I get this? Why didn't this go? And movies I didn't get, and yada, yada. And then I go, wait a minute, Rodney Dangerfield was 58 when he did Caddyshack. So, and that's him behind me there. That's Red Fox and Rodney right there.
Oh, wow.
I think they can't see
Yeah,
it,
I can see it. I can see it.
Rodney's going like this, you know. But it's, you know, it's a struggle. to get your stuff done. And here we're talking about Jackson, who was a young man, handsome California, part of that amazing scene. There was a thing, I guess it's on, I don't know if it's HBO or Netflix, but it's about Laurel Canyon and all the artists that were up there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if Jackson's in it. I know Crosby, Stills, Nash are in it, and Young, and a bunch of people that from some of those, they all knew each other.
Yeah.
So. But there's also, I mean, Jackson's covered a real gamut too. He's had gospel in his albums and in his shows, and he's just so special. And I'm so glad that I can't wait to hear what he releases next. He has a big tour coming up in 2021, which will happen because, by the fall, we're all rocking and rolling. And then by 2022, if people have a chance to go see him in concert, you will. Some people, you go, well, I don't know. I've never really gotten into him.
Go.
And then you go see a show.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, okay. Then you get to what you don't normally get. You get to go back and just inhale all those albums. And you go, holy shit, I just discovered a holy grail of music. And that happens with certain artists, with Bruce Springsteen. Some people go, oh, I don't never really. Oh, really? Well, why don't you go see him live? And,
Please go see him live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw his show on Broadway, and I got to talk to him afterward, and I'd met him before, but it was awkward. I didn't know what to do. He's like a hero, you know? What do you say to a hero? It's very hard when you meet people that inspire you very much, and
you just thank them. You just thank them. That's it. That's all you got to do is thank them.
I always do too much.
So do I.
I was downstairs with my wife and two daughters at Broadway, and Bruce was saying hi to a couple of young men and his dentist and his wife, and I think that was it. And then Patty came down the steps, and I was saying something about how he's grown. I can't believe, how can you be so amazing and then grow more? And he's like, well, I've never heard that before. And then I know someone who's a good friend who had no of his and said, no, Bruce didn't mind that. And I go, oh, okay, thanks for helping me through that. But I never say the right thing. And then the only thing I said was, Patty said, honey, we have to go. I said, okay, I'll be right there. I'm talking to Bruce. And Bruce, he laughed as much as he could laugh. He's another personal.
He's got
he's a personal hero. He's one of my heroes in my whole life.
Yeah, yeah. What does his laugh sound like? Just like the working man, just yeah.
Kind of silent too. I think it was a silent laugh. I mean, if you watch his newest thing on HBO Max, it's quite beautiful. There's two, and the last one with the E Street Band and going and recording. There's laughing, and you see why he's the boss, because he is.
He is.
And I don't know. I love so many people in music. All comedians love all musicians, and all musicians love some comedians. I mean, it's funny. Jackson, I think it's on the road. I'm not sure, but he goes. He talks about being on the road with the bus, or maybe it's during stay. Yeah, and he goes, we got all kinds of music on the bus. We got R&B. We got Richard Pryor on the video.
Yeah.
So there's always a connection of what it's.
Because
he said the only times that seem too short is the times that we get to play. And then he goes, people, you've got the power over what we do. You can sit there and wait, or you can pull us through. Come along, sing a song, whatever. But it's thanking the audience for being on the road. For they're making stop after stop.
Yeah. And
he's just an appreciative, great person, and people should listen to The Pretender.
Please
go backwards and forwards.
Everybody, if because listen to The Pretender, go back, listen to For Every Man, and then continue on the journey. Bob, this was phenomenal. This was so much fun, man. So
I really enjoyed this too. And next time we do the Beatles, get a hold of me. Joe McHale will just botch it.
Just botched it, dude.
Oh God, he's an idiot. He thinks Eleanor Rigby's a whore.
Well, I mean, she was kind of.
All right, it's a school.
Yeah, was it?
I think, or it's where he
lived in a church. I think she was a nun.
Wow. No, I don't think it's a lady. God, I have to do all the work. Okay, we got to find out.
You're gonna have to go through 3 surveys to get to it.
There's 9 people listening to this. that
19.
know the
Add the
that-
teen.
but that know the answer.
Oh.
Eleanor Rigby meaning. Here we go. Is a song by the English rock band. Wikipedia is begging for money right now. Did you
Oh, I
see
know.
that?
Trust me, I've seen
Oh
it.
my God. It's from the 60s. It's from Revolver, and it's credited to Lennon and McCartney. The song, we know what it did. What's it about, though? Harmony, people named Eleanor Rigby. They don't tell you? I looked it up properly. It tells you the history of it.
Let me see
It
if I can
doesn't
find
tell you
it.
what it means.
Hold on.
Let's see. The band singing it. Just example. I don't know what to tell you.
Hold
It
on.
doesn't
Wait, Jared
say.
pulled it up. Hold on.
Paul McCartney came up with the melody as he experimented on his piano. However, the original name of the protagonist that he chose was not Eleanor Rigby, but Miss Daisy Hawkins. You were right. The composer Donovan reported that he heard McCartney play it to him before it was finished with completely different lyrics. So Father Mackenzie refers to Father Tommy Mackenzie, who was the compare at Northwich Memorial Hall.
How did I not
McCartney
know
said
that?
McCartney said he came up with the name Eleanor from actress Eleanor Braun, who had starred with the Beatles in Help. And Rigby came from the name of a store in Bristol. So there's meaning for all this stuff, you know?
And that's what we're trying to
Anyway.
figure out. I love it.
McCartney wrote the first verse by himself, and the Beatles finished the song in the music room of John Lennon's home at Kenwood.
Just to let
Anyway.
I just want to say this, Bob, just so everybody knows, that album is coming up in 7 years on the podcast. So we're giving everybody a little taste of what we're
Revolver?
gonna do in Revolver, y'all.
It's 7 years it's coming
It's because
up?
it's in the top 10.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's in the top 10. So we've
7
got
years?
7
years from now?
we just broke into the 300s. I mean, the final episode of this show airs May 31st, 2028. Yeah.
This is great news. I will tell you to remember this for that show. Eleanor Rigby is often described as a lament for lonely people or a commentary on post-war life in Britain. And I remember it was in Yellow Submarine, I believe, and it was all dark gray, and that stop animation almost.
Yeah.
And it's sad. You know, it has a very sad feel to it of a post-war Britain. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really loved pretending like I enjoyed this, talking about The Pretender.
Anything you want to promote, buddy? Go ahead.
Oh, just Bob Saget's Here For You, my podcast at Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher or Spatula. I don't know, wherever you get your podcast.
Get it on Spatula.
And where do I get this podcast? Everywhere.
On Spatula. You get it on Spatula and in Mishpucha.
I'll be on Caligula as well.
Have it on Caligula. Bob, this was fantastic. Thank you, buddy.